Duke Eclipse presents the Horror Hideout Podcast, a podcast covering everything horror, including books, comics, and movies. Presented by Dawson Duke and Kayla Bullock.
Hello, welcome back to the Horror Hideout Podcast,
We are on episode 7.
which is crazy.
So last week we had said we were going to review The Walking Deceased if we thought it was worth reviewing.
Yes, if we thought there was enough there to talk about.
Right. We watched probably the first 20 minutes of it, and it's
all just references to other zombie media.
Right. You've got Walking Dead, you've got
Warm Bodies.
the one where they're in the mall. I can't remember which one that is.
One of the sequels to Night of the Living Dead is in a mall.
I don't think that's what I'm thinking of. But anyway, so we decided there was not enough content in there to actually talk about that movie. But if you're looking for a mindless zombie movie that makes fun of everything else zombie, check it out.
Yeah, it's a spoof movie. Like, what's that one, The Hunger Games or whatever that came out?
Yeah.
I remember that when you worked at Family Video. I remember that being everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They do that a lot with movies.
Yeah.
But, so anyway, if you're interested in a very spoofy movie, check it out if you like zombies. And it's very crude and inappropriate humor, a lot of it.
Yeah.
So check it out if that's your thing.
So instead of doing that, since there wasn't really much there to talk about, we are doing The Dead Don't Die, which is one of, if not my favorite horror movie.
From 2019.
Yes.
Which is so this is a fun one.
Yes, it's another zombie movie.
It is another zombie movie. We did that on purpose to replace The Walking Deceased. One of the best parts about the movie is it stars Bill Murray and Adam Driver, and they are a good team in this movie.
And I've seen a lot of people review this movie and like talk about it badly. I do not think it's a bad movie. I love this movie.
I don't either. I was looking at some reviews earlier, and one even said, the guy's like, I don't know why it took me so many times watching this, but I finally like this movie.
Yeah. I think too many people are too anal about the stuff they watch and too presumptuous to like something like this. It's just kind of weird and out there, but I think that's okay every once in a while.
And it's, we talked about this with something like Homicidal that we did last time. Is kind of more one you have to think about. Like, there's some psychological, mental...
And I think even when we were doing that episode, there was something I said that, like, you had missed, and something you said that I had missed because we were taking notes.
This one's not like that. This is just kind of a...
Odd one?
I don't know.
The best way I can describe it is it's weird.
Yeah, and honestly, if I was going to compare it to anything we've done so far, I would probably say Final Girls, just because of the... why is it so good? I mean, there's no reason it should be this good, but it is.
But it's not, plot-wise, it's nothing like
No, I didn't mean that.
I know.
From my perspective, it's just I don't want to say feel-good. I hate saying feel-good horror movie, but it's just...
Yeah, it's a palate cleanser horror movie. That's what I like calling them.
That's a good way to put it.
And it's the same thing when I read stuff, too. I like to have a palate cleanser once in a while. I was talking about this Saturday. I like to read a lot of manga, and there's some heavier manga I've read, like Chainsaw Man and Fire Punch and Demon Slayer and stuff like that. And in between reading those, I like to read stuff like Dinosaur Sanctuary, where it's just a bunch of people working at a dinosaur zoo.
I like Dinosaur Sanctuary. But I'm the same way. I started reading...
or I think we talked about it with Hatred of Mondays, too.
John Athan books. And his books are... they're splatterpunk, but they're very heavy. And I read 2 of them, and I'm like, nope, I'm done for a while. I gotta read something else. Let's read something that's not that,
Well, you remember I cried whenever I finished Demon Slayer.
Yeah. So anyway, back to The Dead Don't Die. Spoiler-free review. It's a small town. It's called Centerville, USA.
Yeah.
It does take place in Pennsylvania if you look at the license plate.
What's the town slogan? Like a good place to be, or a happy place, or something.
I think that's what it is.
It's like the most generic tagline you can be.
Town of 738 people.
And zombies start coming out of their graves, or I guess I should say, dead people start coming out of their graves. It's kind of the whole point of the movie. But it's not your typical zombie movie. But I don't want to say much more outside of spoilers. Do you have anything else you want to say spoiler free?
Their sign says a real nice place.
That's what it is.
That's the sign. And one thing I saw was you never see anybody going past that sign going into town. They're always coming out of town, which I thought was kind of something I would have never picked up on. But
you know what it made me think of?
What's that?
Riverdale. like not the show Riverdale, as in like in Archie comics. Archie is like the average teenager, and that's kind of his whole thing. Is he's supposed to be like the average teenager, and Riverdale is just like your average town, and that's what this feels like. It's just your average American town
where nothing exciting happens. There's one diner, there's one gas station. Like the gas station is not up to modern times. And but yeah, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, pause here, go watch it, come back and join us for our discussion. But now we're gonna dig into the meat and potatoes of the movie.
Yeah. So.
See what I did there? Meat, zombie meat.
I got it. There's a lot of references like that in this movie where they say something that's like, oh, I didn't think about that. Like the part. I mean, we'll get to it. I'll bring it up later if I remember. But let's just start talking about the actual movie. Okay, so the movie starts with two officers, Ronnie and Cliff, and you had their last names.
It's Cliff Robertson and Ronnie Peterson, which are Bill Murray is Chief Cliff, and then Adam Driver is his deputy.
And I think they both do fantastic in their roles here.
They do. And one thing I want to mention first, Ronnie, probably 10 or 15 times during the movies, he just tells Cliff this is all going to end badly.
Yeah.
And that'll come back up later, but I just think it's funny, like, something will happen and be like, this is going to end badly.
You know what it made me think of? And I wonder if this is intentional because of something else that happens later. I wonder if it's Star Wars reference to the fact they always say, I've got a bad feeling about this, especially because he has a keychain that has a Star Destroyer on it.
We'll get into that.
Okay.
Because I have some notes on that, so we'll talk about that when we get there.
And Adam Driver, doesn't he play, what's his face?
We'll get there.
Okay, sorry.
Stop it, you're taking all my notes.
Kylo Ren.
Stop it.
Okay.
Dawson's ruining all my notes, just so you know. I'm throwing that out there. I had that in my
notes. I have notes too. Okay. So Ronnie and Cliff are investigating Hermit Bob because supposedly, according to Frank Miller, the Farmer Miller, Bob stole one of his chickens.
Frank Miller is played by Steve Buscemi too.
Yes.
And he's good for this role.
I love Steve Buscemi, and like, Mom said that she. Well, let's not talk about that now. But he plays a good character in this, but he's also a little racist.
Yeah, and we'll get into that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like blaringly racist.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, but there's not enough of it to make you not want
He doesn't say anything.
Right, but it's
really,
not enough in your face where you wouldn't want to watch the movie. Like, he wears a hat that says "Make America White Again," and we don't support that. We don't agree with that.
Yeah.
But
and then he just makes one comment about, and I think he's just a trope playing on like MAGA people, like people that are like "Make America Great Again," and they think Trump is gonna.
Yeah, well, that's what his hat looks like.
I know that's the point, but the one line he says that's like racist is he's in the diner and there's a black guy in there and he says he doesn't want any more coffee because it's too black for him, and then he like apologizes to the black guy and is like, I didn't mean you, I mean the coffee.
Right. Yeah. The black guy is Danny Glover.
Yeah.
He plays Hank.
Yes.
So we have Frank, we have Hank.
Yes.
We have Robertson and Peterson.
Yes. So. We haven't met Hank yet officially in the movie though. Right now it's just Ronnie, Cliff, and we've heard of Frank, we haven't seen him yet, and Hermit Bob.
Right.
And Hermit Bob shoots at the two officers.
So they go out into the woods, they're looking for Hermit Bob, and obviously by his name he's a hermit. They say at one point he's lived in the woods for years.
Like 20 years or something.
But they find a fire that's still warm and there's a rabbit laying there that's skinned.
Yeah.
So Hermit Bob's hiding in the bushes and he shoots at him like Dawson said, and he basically tells him to F off and go away.
Yeah. And he doesn't shoot to hit them, but he like fires a warning shot to get them to back off.
Right.
And then
which Dawson and I we're talking about this earlier too. The whole movie, almost the whole movie, the two cops are so mellow and so non-reactive and just like
nonchalant.
Bill Murray kind of puts you in the mind of somebody who's just tired of being sheriff. Like nothing surprises him anymore.
And like later in the movie, at one point, he mentions that he was supposed to retire 2 years ago.
Right. So anyway, they leave Hermit Bob.
And they kind of discuss on whether or not they should arrest him for having.
Right. Ronnie thinks he should.
Yeah, and Cliff is like, no, we went to school together.
Yeah.
And Ronnie's like, that must have been 50 years ago.
What was the one we talked about where when we did 30 Days of Night, the difference in the cops. Like 30 Days of Night, he gave the guy a ticket.
Yeah.
To prove to show him that he's
Yeah.
still part of their town, and in this one they just don't care.
Yeah.
Like, they really just don't care. And I kind of got the impression like Hermit Bob doesn't really have a house.
No, he
like
doesn't. That's kind of his whole thing.
A permanent place to stay.
He
like
just wanders the woods.
Yeah.
And he's very in tune with nature, because we learn that later in the movie too.
Right. So when Cliff and Ronnie get back in their car, they start talking about the time.
Yes, it's 8 o'clock and it's not even dark.
Yes, they're trying to figure out if it's past 8 o'clock or if their watches are broken.
Yeah. They do find out their watches are broken, and then it turns out that Ronnie's phone is dead and he had just charged it.
So one of the kind of goofs I saw on this part was that the car stereo shows that the clock was 11:09 a.m. And then 30 seconds later it shows 11:11 a.m. So they didn't, which honestly, car radios, people don't always reset them.
Well, and that's like the car radio in my truck isn't on all the time, so there's no point in setting that time, because as soon as you turn it off, it resets itself.
That's true. But so then they're driving back to town, and we jump back to
first
Bob,
he
right?
turns on the radio.
Oh, right.
So Ronnie turns on the radio, and a song that just came out by Sturgill Simpson is playing.
I love this song.
It is. I'm not even a big country fan, but this song is so catchy and will get stuck in your head.
It's called "The Dead Don't Die."
Yes,
by
and
Simpson.
It was made for this movie, but Sturgill Simpson is a real artist that actually makes music.
And he is actually in the movie. Did you know that?
Yes. Yeah.
Later on, he's the zombie dragging a guitar.
Mm-hmm.
That's later on, though. So then
I'm not done yet, because Cliff asks, why does this song sound so familiar? And Ronnie says, because it's the theme song. And first time I watched this, I was just like, oh, it's probably a theme song to some show that's popular in this world. But it's not, and we'll get back to that later. And this is when they drive by stuff, and we kind of get the lay of the land. Like, we know what's in town.
So there's a couple things about the town, and we were talking about this before we started recording. There was a couple things like, I was trying hard. I didn't take notes during the movie. I was trying hard to figure out the lay of the town. And I still can't in my mind get it figured out.
But I don't know if that's on purpose or not. Because it's like in The Shining, the Overlook Hotel doesn't make any sense.
Right, yeah.
And so I wonder if it might be intentional like that, or maybe there is some layout to the town, and it was not anything I tried to pay attention to.
Well, like, they're driving back into town, and, well, I don't know if it's, well, yes, because is this when Mindy calls them?
Yes.
And he says they're just kind of doing a loop through town. Yeah. But, so, this town of 738 people has a juvenile detention center.
Yeah, a gas station.
The
cemetery.
The cemetery. The police station.
Hardware store.
And then a bunch of residences, like houses. But I can't, in my mind, I can't get the layout. Because then when they're, at the end, when they're driving through town, I mean, it seems like it's a kind of a bigger downtown area.
Yeah. Well, and then you mentioned, too, the fact that there's only 700 people in this town, and they have a juvenile detention center.
Yeah. Which, from some angles, it looks like it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but then when they're doing their loop through town, they go past it.
I know. And it's kind of the same thing with the gas station, where sometimes it feels like it's out in the middle of the nowhere.
There's a hotel, too. We didn't mention the motel.
Motel, yeah. I don't know if we see the motel at this part, though. I know we see it later.
I don't think we do, but...
Yeah, I don't think they drive past. There is a motel, but they don't drive past.
Right, but I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Like, there was also the motel, and we know the motel and the gas station aren't too far away. Later on.
Is this... Right after this, we learn about the fracking. Where... Is that in the...
Oh, wait a minute. Don't we cut back to Bob?
Probably.
In the woods, and he's looking at the anthills, and he says that they're acting funny. The ants are acting funny. So Bob's kind of the smart one in the movie. Like, he figures out.
He's a survivor.
Yeah, there you go. But so this is like one of the coolest things I found out about this movie. The anthills were real.
Yeah.
And it was an accidental discovery in the woods while they were filming Hermit Bob's part. He liked them so much, he added that as they were filming. The director liked it so much. His name's Jim Jarmusch, maybe is how you say his last name. But he liked the ant hill so much that he added that, which I wonder, because if you notice at the end of the movie, in Bob's little speech he does at the end, he talks about ants. So I think it's cool that, I wonder if that part was already in there, or if they tied it back to there because of the ant hills.
So this is when we see inside the juvie for the first time, right? And when we learn about the polar fracking.
No.
Okay.
So next is we go to the diner.
Okay.
And that's when we meet Frank, and we meet Hank, and we meet, what's the waitress's name?
The waitress is Lily.
Lily. And then what's the lady that cleans she's not there now, but what's her name?
The cleaner?
Uh-huh.
That's Lily.
Okay, so what's the...
I have it written down somewhere.
So anyway, while Dawson's trying to figure out her name...
Fern,
there you go.
Fern, owns the diner.
Fern and Lily Flowers.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at the diner, and Hank owns the hardware store, and this is when we were talking about Frank. This is when we meet Frank.
Did you say Hank owns the hardware store?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, there's Frank and Hank, and I wanted to make sure.
So Frank is Steve Buscemi, Hank is Danny Glover. Frank is the farmer.
Yes.
Hank is the hardware store owner, and they hear a report on the radio about polar fracking.
And I do want to say that they keep, a couple times they mention that they think a fox probably just stole one of his chickens and it wasn't Bob. And I believe that too because of something that happens later in the movie.
I don't believe that because of something that happens later in the movie.
Okay, well, we'll get there and we'll talk about it.
Okay. Remind me, because you're wrong. You are 100,000% wrong. And
I don't think I am.
I think you are. You think it was a fox?
I don't think it was a fox. I don't think it was Bob.
You're wrong.
Why?
I guarantee you're wrong.
When Bob eats the chicken later in the movie, he says, "This is pretty good," implying he hasn't done it before.
Oh, but see, I think he did. See,
I don't think so.
I thought that was Frank's chicken.
I think it is, but the chickens and the cows all run into the woods. So I think he had it stolen them up to that point.
See, I took it the wrong way. So maybe you're not wrong.
If we just saw him eating the chicken, but the line he says, "This is actually pretty good," makes me think he hasn't had one before.
Okay, well, I take back that I guarantee you're wrong, but I still don't agree with you.
Well, that's fine. We can disagree.
So then we go to the Centerville Juvenile Detention Center.
And we meet Liv, Stell, and Geronimo, right?
Yes. And Geronimo is always in trouble because he's in the girls' dormitory.
Yeah, he's a guy that keeps sneaking into the girls' dormitory. And they're not even doing anything bad. They're just hanging out.
Yeah, like at this scene, they're just in the kind of like the day area.
Yeah, and they're watching a TV talking about the polar fracking.
Right.
And the polar fracking, they're worried that it's going to throw the axis of the Earth off.
Right.
And mess up its rotation, which could have devastating effects on the environment.
And this Geronimo says something about the time, right?
Yeah. But the government says that the scientist that is saying all that is making stuff up and lying, which...
But then later on, the moon's purple.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Fine.
Okay. So then after this, we go to the gas station, and we meet Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a big, like, horror movie buff. Well, not just movies, because he also likes the comics, and... I mean, he's just a big nerd, is kind of his whole thing. But he especially likes horror stuff.
And he's kind of the harbinger in the movie, I feel like. Like,
yeah.
He's kind of the creepy...
And he meets... Or Dean is there delivering something. And Dean isn't, like, a big part of the movie. He's just in this one scene. But he's
like a UPS driver, but it's... The company name is WUPS, so it's Whoops.
Yeah.
Is the delivery company.
And he says... Because Bobby asks him for some advice before he leaves. And Dean says, "The world is perfect. Appreciate the details." Which I liked.
Which is kind of a spin-off of one of the rules in Zombieland. Appreciate the small things. Yeah.
So then we see Hermit Bob again. And he notices there's mushrooms in an area they're not supposed to be.
Right. He's very observant and very, like, nature-y, and I like his character.
And then we go to the motel manager, or the motel owner, or whatever, and there's a report that pets are disappearing and acting aggressive.
Right.
So this is when we see the motel for the first time. And then we switch to Farmer Frank, and I know there's a lot of characters, but they'll start dying soon. We switch to Farmer Frank, and he's trying to find his dog. He finds his dog under his truck, and the dog runs into the woods. And then, because that happens, Frank realizes his cows and chickens are gone.
But Herbert Bob is watching the cows. He watches the cows go into the woods. Like, nobody steals his cows.
Yeah,
they
just wander out.
Yeah.
And I meant to mention it. The manager, whenever he's watching the news report about the pets disappearing and acting aggressive, he's trying to find his cats.
Right.
Which we never see the cats, but he says he has a bunch of them.
Yeah. Did you notice that when he feeds them the cat food, he licks the cat food can lid? Oof. Gross. So when do we meet the coffee zombies?
Not yet. Because now we cut back to the police station. So we cut back to the police station and we meet Mallory. Well, she's dead. We meet Mindy in person, and Mallory is dead in a cell. And she was like the town drunk.
And she's
from what
played
it sounds
by
like.
Carol Kane.
Yes.
And I love Carol Kane. She was in The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. And she was so funny in that show.
And I know her from Gotham as Penguin's mom. And she's also really good in that show.
Yeah, she's just... I don't know. She's just a fun lady. She was in something else we watched not too long ago. I don't remember.
I think she's really good at playing like off characters. So she's in The Princess Bride.
Yes. With who's the guy that she's with? I don't remember his name, but yeah, they're the creepy old couple.
Yeah.
Is it Billy Crystal?
Maybe.
It might be Billy Crystal. Anyway, she's a good actress. I really like her. She's a lot of fun. But we don't see her at this point. She's just a body in the cell covered up under.
We see her face because he's looking at her and he says, "Even in death, you still smell like Chardonnay."
Oh, that's true.
So we see her face here, but she's not. She's dead.
Right. She's
a
just
corpse. Yeah. Here's when I wrote down that Ronnie keeps saying that this is all going to end badly, or this isn't going to go well.
And he says it throughout the movie. I mean, it's not just a one-time thing. He says it pretty often.
I think he says it like 4 times in total.
I think it might be more than that.
It might be. I caught it 4 times at least.
Okay.
It might be more. Okay, so then we go to the diner, and this is this when Frank leaves? No, Frank's already left at this point. He left earlier when we were at the diner.
Right, but Hank leaves.
Yes, because
and then Fern and Lily are talking,
yes.
And Fern is going to leave.
So do you think Lily is just a cleaner? Because they mentioned her working for Zelda.
That's kind of the impression I got. Was she cleaned? But I'm like, I've never heard of a diner like that has somebody who comes in just
I
to
wonder
clean.
if it's such a small town that she has like a cleaning business and she goes around to multiple places and cleans.
Well, I'm sure
because
she
they
does.
mentioned her working for Zelda.
Yeah, I'm sure she does.
Yeah.
But
so Zelda works at the funeral home. Oh, and we should have mentioned this with Mallory. The reason she's still in the cell and not at the funeral home is because the funeral home already has 2 bodies, and Mallory's just going to be buried in Potter's Field.
Which a Potter's Field is, if you don't know, it's it was a thing back in the 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s. If you didn't have family to claim you or anything, and you didn't have money, they would bury you in a Potter's Field.
Yeah, unmarked grave.
Right.
Usually.
And there's actually one in the town next to us that there's a whole area that it looks like a grassy field in the cemetery, but it's a Potter's Field. There's people buried there, but they don't know where and they don't know who. So that's what a Potter's Field is. But the 2 people that are at the nursing home, which we find out later on is a man and a woman. Huh?
Funeral home.
What did I say?
Nursing.
Oh, I meant funeral home. The 2 people at the funeral home, it's a man and a woman, and they got struck by lightning while they were golfing.
Yeah, we learned that here. They say it.
Yeah.
And so Fern is questioning Lily about Zelda because she's foreign and they don't really know her.
Right. She just took over the funeral home.
And like it's kind of a thing throughout the movie. It seems like no one knows where she's from except for Cliff says where she's from at one point. I'm pretty sure. Right? He's the one that says it.
Yeah, kinda. They kind of. I don't know if it's him or Ronnie, but they kind of talk about it back and forth. Like
one of them says she's Scottish.
Yeah.
I think it's Cliff says it to Ronnie.
I think so. But Lily is asking. No, Fern is asking Lily about cleaning the funeral home, and Lily says it's really strange in there. She's got a room with a big giant golden Buddha statue and swords on the wall. And so Zelda is played by, I'm going to butcher her name, Tilda I think it's Swenson is her last name. Which is fun because in the movie her name was Zelda Winston.
Yeah.
And Winston and her last name are anagrams of each other. So she's very tall, very skinny, has a very thin face, long blonde hair.
Kind of large eyes.
Mm-hmm. So she's just. I'm not saying anything negative about the way she looks, but she's just.
It's like Uncanny Valley.
Right. So, they're talking about her. She tells her the thing about the Buddha and the swords. And then Fern goes to leave.
Yes. And Lily stays behind to clean.
Well, Fern doesn't leave. She starts to leave.
That's not here, though.
I thought it was.
No. Here we switch to Zelda. They're talking about Zelda and it switches to Zelda.
Okay.
And, because I think, yeah, anyway. So we switch to Zelda and she's practicing in the room with the Golden Buddha. And it puts you in the mind of like a dojo. And she's got the Golden Buddha statue in the background. And she's like practicing with a sword.
It's a katana, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And she's in the.
It's either a katana or whatever the straight one is called.
It had a little bit of a curve.
Or maybe it's
maybe it was a katana.
Backward. I don't remember. There's a term for one that's curved and there's a term for one that's straight. And I think katana I think is curved, but I don't know for sure.
But anyway, she's got on the, I don't know what they call it, that they wear when they're doing
like robes.
Karate.
I don't know
stuff.
what the correct term is.
But so she's in there practicing with her katana, her knife, her sword. And I don't know why, but she has red eyeshadow on, and with her pale skin and that blonde hair, that red eyeshadow just like freaked me out. I don't know why.
So she's walking past the room that has the couple in it that died, the ones that were electrocuted, and one of their arms slips out from under the cloth. So she comments that that's weird and goes over and puts the arm back up under the cloth. And then she goes to leave the room, and she doesn't see it, but we see the hand like move up under the sheet a little bit. And so she hears it because it rustles the cloth, so she looks back, but when she looks back, it's back where it was. So then we cut back, we cut to the juvie again, and Liv wakes up in the middle of the night with a bad feeling. And then we cut to Hermit Bob, and he's just lying in the middle of like a clearing in the woods, just staring up at the sky. And I think this is when we see the moon is purple.
Right. So then we cut to the coffee zombies. And, well, actually it cuts to the cemetery, and we see two people coming out of their graves. And it's the coffee zombies. And they are played by Iggy Pop and Sarah Driver, who's no relation to Adam Driver because I looked. He is in jeans and a vest. He doesn't have a shirt on. And then she is kind of dressed kind of biker babish, I guess you would say. And so, according to the director, Iggy Pop, who plays the male coffee zombie, asked him for the backstory of his zombie character. And he explained that he and his girlfriend were killed on a motorcycle in 1973 after leaving a Blue Oyster concert. Blue Oyster Cult concert in 1973. And Iggy Pop actually performed with them in 1973. And his tombstone says Samuel M. Fuller, and he lived from 1877 to 1967. And he does not look like he's 89 to 90 years old.
I bet he did not. I bet he did not fear the Reaper.
So yeah. So is that all we see with or is this when they go into the diner?
They start making their way there, but then we cut back to the diner, and Lily and Fern are talking.
I think it's funny though, like he died, and again. Oh, I just caught that too.
What?
The director told him he died on a motorcycle in 1973, but the tombstone shows he died in 1967.
Oh. Well. Oops.
And that's another thing Dawson and I kind of talked about was this is a movie that's hard to place the time of when it's supposed to take place.
I know I mentioned Riverdale earlier in reference to the comics, but if you've seen the Riverdale show, it's very ambiguous to when it takes place because they have like flip phones, but then they also have like a lot of 50s technology, and so it's kind of that thing where it's like, when exactly is this taking
Right.
place?
'Cause
Because
you see-
they have cell phones,
Right.
but I think they're just flip phones.
Adam or Adam Driver. I don't remember. Ronnie's is not because
Is
when he
it?
holds it up, it's like an iPhone.
Okay.
Um, but then the computer when Zelda's on the computer, it's like an
Yeah.
old
Yeah.
80s computer. The gas station doesn't have it has the old timey pumps. So it's kind of a hard movie to place where they're
Yeah.
what the time frame we're in.
I like it though because it helps with the unsettling.
Yeah, I'm not saying there's anything wrong
I know,
with it.
I know. I didn't say you were. I'm just saying I think I like it because it also makes it just feel more unsettling. Okay.
Okay, so then where do we cut to next?
We're at the diner with Fern and Lily, and Lily is still cleaning, and Fern says, "I'm gonna go home, lock up when you're done."
Right.
And she starts to go through the door. And we saw in the background the zombies making their way up.
Right.
And so she opens the door and immediately gets attacked by the female zombie.
So this is another part like where I can't figure out placement because I feel like at one point the diner seems to kind of be in town and the cemetery's out in the country, but the diner's the first place they go to.
But these zombies go after the thing they liked in life. And they wanted coffee.
That's true.
And if they drink
true.
coffee at the diner all the time.
That's true. That was one thing that they talk about later on is the zombies are doing what they did most in life. Which this is a scene later on, but I thought it was funny because they show the pharmacy and like one of them's wanting Xanax and one of them wants Prozac and it's like all these things and then Mallory in the police station, she wants Chardonnay.
Yeah, and we'll get there.
Well, this isn't spoiler free, so I can talk about it. So anyway, they go into the diner, right? And we stay with them for a few minutes, right?
Fern and Lily?
With the zombies.
The zombies, yes. The zombies, the female attacks Fern, the male attacks Lily, and they both get killed. And then they start saying coffee, see the coffee pots, and just start drinking straight from the pots.
They see the mugs on the counter with coffee in them, and they drink those.
And the guy accidentally breaks one.
I thought it was funny though that unless that was part of Lily's job was to empty the coffee pots, like a diner wouldn't leave their coffee pots with coffee in them overnight.
Well, she's a cleaner. I don't know if.
Yeah, that's why I said I don't know, but
And maybe she drinks coffee while she cleans.
And then every time, well, that's true too. And then throughout the rest of the movie, every time we see him, he's got a coffee pot hooked on one finger.
Yeah.
And he's doing his zombie walk with that coffee pot.
The male and female zombie almost flirt with each other. Because the girl does like a little dance.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, they were boyfriend and girlfriend.
I know. So now we come back to the police station.
And is this when Mallory comes to life?
No. Cliff, earlier on when we were at the police station, Mindy and Ronnie left, and Cliff stayed behind to watch it overnight.
Right.
So Cliff wakes up to a phone call from Hank.
Did you catch when he tells them he may just curl up next to Mallory?
Mm-hmm.
And Mindy says something, and he goes, "Oh, well, take me back to Blast from the Past," or something like that. So did him and Mallory have a thing?
Apparently. I don't know. Because he also, the way he talks about her whenever he lifts the sheet the first time and he's like, even in death you smell like it, he almost seems like he's reminiscing.
Yeah.
So I bet they did have a thing at some point. But, so Cliff wakes up, he answers Hank's call, and so Cliff seems pretty unfazed by everything he's being told over the phone. So then we cut to him arriving at the diner, and he goes inside and sees the corpses and comes back out, and he's still very just straight faced, just neutral about everything.
Right.
Like he doesn't really say much.
Right.
And then I know you want to talk about this. You know who pulls up next?
Adam Driver?
Ronnie.
I'm sorry, I can't remember his name.
You're fine.
I don't know why.
I'm sure I'll call Cliff Bill Murray at some point too.
They actually when he pulls up, he's in a little red. They actually kind of talk about this, him and Mindy, because they kind of flirt with each other. Well, he's flirting with her and asks if he can give her a ride home, and she's like, does your smart car even fit 2 people?
Yeah.
And then he smarts off something about having
And
a Prius.
it's like a convertible smart car.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of those little Tykes crazy cars.
Yeah. You know what it reminded me of? You know the Apple car from the one with the worm in it? That's what it made me think of.
Richard Scary.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right. But here he comes, speeding into the parking lot in his little car. This is part of what Dawson was starting to ruin earlier. When he pulls up, the sounds are taken from a Star Wars vehicle sound effect. And like Dawson said, later on when he gives his keys to Zelda, she says something about the Star Wars keychain, and these are both references to Adam Driver's involvement in Star Wars as Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
So he goes in and sees the bodies.
And his reaction is, oh, yuck.
Right. That's just, oh, yuck. Like, him and Bill Murray have no emotion through this whole movie, except for one scene, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But,
well, there's a couple times, but it's not till later.
Right. So then Mindy pulls up, and Mindy is the other deputy.
Yes.
I don't know if we ever said what her role was, but she's another deputy.
Yeah. Cliff is chief, Ronnie and Mindy are deputies.
Right. And so she goes in, and she comes out really upset.
Yeah, and she throws up even.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Cliff tells her to go do crowd control, because there's like 3 people standing in the parking lot.
And I was trying to listen to what they're saying, and it's funny because they're not really saying anything. Like
really?
they're saying stuff, but it's not really. They're just like, I can't believe this happened and stuff. It's not like they're. Because I thought they were gonna be saying something specific about like the people or something, but they're just like, I can't believe this happened and stuff like that. Like it's very
stuff.
yeah.
Like
it could have been anything. Like it could have been a robbery, and they're like, I can't believe this happened.
Right.
Like it's nothing. I don't think it's how I would react to finding out that people I knew were murdered.
Right. And Hank even asks them if they think it was a wild animal. Which
that's what I was going to say.
This is so funny because Hank says it, Ronnie says it, I think Cliff says it, Mindy says it.
Cliff doesn't say it because Hank says it to Cliff.
Oh.
And then Ronnie says it to Cliff, and then Mindy says it to Cliff.
But then this is where Ronnie says he thinks it's zombies.
I don't think it's right now.
Oh, I thought it was.
It is. It's after Mindy throws up. Yeah.
But he thinks it's zombies.
He says he thinks it's zombies. Like ghouls. Like the undead. That's what he says.
Yeah.
I mean, not exactly, but he mentions all 3 of those. And, so, that's one thing I like about this movie, is a lot of zombie movies, they'll, like, beat around the bush and, like, be like, oh, well, it could be, like, a wild animal. And then they don't think it's zombies. This movie, they immediately figure out it's zombies, and then they immediately know, like, you go for the head and stuff like that. It's not like there's any dilly-dallying. It's like, this is how zombies work. We know this is how zombies work. Because stuff like The Walking Dead, they have, like, the creator of it has said, like Robert Kirkman has said that the reason that they don't react to the zombies like they know them is because there's no zombie media in that world. Zombies never existed in that world in a fictional capacity. This movie doesn't do that. It's like, yes, we're aware zombies exist. We've seen all these movies like Night of the Living Dead and stuff, and we follow those rules. And they figured out they don't have to like find a zombie and then figure out, oh, you got to go for the head. They just know.
Right.
And I like that.
And I want to skip back because we're going to get back to Bobby, who owns the gas station, comic book store / Harbinger. Yeah. One thing we didn't mention was Dean calls him Bilbo Baggins because his name is Bobby.
Well, he calls him Frodo, doesn't he?
He calls him both. He calls him Frodo and he calls him Bilbo. But what's his last? It's Bobby Wiggins. So you got Frodo Baggins and Bilbo Baggins. So he calls him. He says one when he comes in and one's when he's leaving.
Yeah, and he says it in like an endearing way.
Right. Like you can tell they're buddies. I mean, he gives him a rare comic book and says, "Don't worry about it. Don't
pay me for it."
Right.
It's from like 1970 something. Like it's an old one.
See, I wonder if it is. Maybe it wasn't.
What do you mean?
Maybe it wasn't old at this time when this movie was supposed to take place.
They have cell phones.
Well, that's true. That is true. I didn't think about that. I mean, we talked about it, but yeah you're right.
I think it's probably supposed to take place in 2019 when it's set, but just the mix of technology is kind of ambiguous.
Yeah, and the tone of the movie, which we'll get into that, but like some of the things that happen, like the motel looks like a very 60s, 70s hotel.
Yeah, and like the diner is like 50s.
60s, 70s,
I was thinking 50s.
Well, somewhere around in there. Obviously, the gas station has not been updated.
Yeah. The gas station, it's funny because it's like instead of just having like official signs everywhere, it's just like boards, like wooden boards that have stuff carved into it or like burned into it that says like comics and all the various stuff.
And I think the sign outside is just when they drive up, it's a white sign with gas and an arrow painted on it.
I think it says Bobby's something.
I think it just says gas.
I mean, the one that's like above whenever they go into the gas station, I think it just says Bobby's.
Yeah.
I think that's all it says.
But Bobby is very much a nerd.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
so very like open and like nice to Dean. Like he's very charismatic with Dean. And then later we see he's very awkward around other people. Yeah. And even later we see kids come in and he's super like cool with the kids and the kids talk to him. And then when people his own age come in is kind of when he.
But I wonder if that's because she's a girl.
I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, the boys aren't very nice to him, but I don't know if it's because she's a girl. She's a pretty girl. Which, speaking of that, I know we haven't.
Girl.
I know we haven't got into that yet, but Selena Gomez has a small part in this movie.
Yes, I wanted you to mention this.
I actually watched it on Netflix, and it is so funny to me because Netflix has it billed as starring Selena Gomez. They don't mention Bill Murray. They don't mention Adam Driver. They don't mention anybody but Selena Gomez. And she's in it for what, maybe 20 minutes of the whole movie?
I'd say like 5 minutes.
Is this where we meet them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we meet Jack and Zach and Zoe.
Yes.
And we don't really know where they're from, where they're going. But
they're from the big city. That's what we learn later.
Well, right.
Yeah.
But they're going on a road trip.
Yes.
And so when they get to close to Centerville, they figure out they need gas.
When we first see them, they're in a car, and it feels very much like a college movie, like a college road trip, like summer movie. You know what I mean?
Kind of like Joyride, like just the friends.
Or like the beginning of a scary movie that features college kids, where they're just like on a drive.
But she drives a Pontiac Le Mans, which is the car that I think it's Barbara drives in Night of the Living Dead.
And they bring that up multiple times. Like they did it on purpose. It's not like
a pretty car.
Yeah. But it's not even like a secret Easter egg because it is brought up multiple times. Right. So the 3 kids realize they need gas. I say kids, they're like probably college age, I would guess.
Yeah. And their whole vibe and those 3 characters are one of the biggest things for me that makes it feel like it's like a 60s or 70s scary movie. I don't know. I don't know, but it does.
So they realize they need to get gas, so they stop at Bobby's to get gas. So, like Mom said, it's an old style gas pump. So they pump it first and then go inside and pay, which I think is kind of funny because they could have just driven off.
Yeah. Well, honesty, I guess.
Yeah.
But this is where Bobby interacts with them, and I think it's Jack calls him Frodo, and it really kind of upsets him. Yeah,
because the way he says it, he says it like it's a cuss word. Like he doesn't say it in a nice way.
Right.
He's like, "Thanks, Frodo." Like I remember one time when I was at my job at one point, there were some teenagers in there that referred to me as Thor and Gandalf, and like if my friends referred to me like that, because I have long hair, I have long blonde hair, so that's why they were doing that. So if my friends referred to me that way, I would be fine with it. But it was the way they said it with a sneer in their voice that gets to you.
Yeah, right. But Zoe is nice to him. She asks him if there's a motel around.
And she compliments his shirt.
Yeah. And she introduces herself, and she's just,
I fear that Bobby is me.
I feel like Zoe... Not that we see her a whole lot, but I feel like she was honestly, genuinely like a good person the way she interacted with Bobby.
In any other movie, any other horror movie, she would be the final girl.
Yeah. We don't really have one of those.
No. I mean, kind of, but not really.
Depends what you mean by final girl.
That's what I mean. So Zoe seems really into Bobby because of his movie knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, she's super impressed with it.
Yeah. I don't remember what they talk about, though. Is he the one that first mentions the car?
He mentions the car later, but the first thing that happens is one of them says, "Oh, this is like the hotel from Psycho." And then he talks about the base motel didn't have a bunch of bungalows. Right. That's what he says. Yeah. And so then he goes out and compliments the car and mentions Night of the Living Dead. And that's when Zoe says, I like your movie knowledge.
Yeah.
And then it's so funny because it doesn't fit in the movie. They don't have an effect like this anywhere else. It like sparkles around her head.
You did catch that too?
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was seeing things.
No. It's like it's funny, but it's very out of place. In this movie, it's considered a comedy, but it's not your typical like in your face comedy. It's very dry humor, and I love it. Because like the part we talked about with the, do you think it was a wild animal or a group of wild animals? That is so funny to me. That is funnier than like an in your face joke to me.
Somebody called it a zom-com, and I thought that was perfect. Yeah. Like, it's a zom-com, not a rom-com. It's a zom-com.
And so really, if this was any other movie, Bobby would go once the apocalypse starts. Bobby would go after Zoe.
Right.
But we'll learn that that's not what's going to happen. So we cut to Zelda now, right?
This is when she's doing their makeup, right?
No. This is when she's walking to the police department to ask about the bodies from the diner. But she walks like an NPC in a video game that is stuck on a line. Like if you've ever, this is, I don't know, kind of if you've not played video games, you're gonna have no idea what I'm talking about, but if you have, you know what I'm talking about. But like in Far Cry 4, if you edit levels, you can like set them to walk on a straight path, or like Disney Infinity, you can do the same thing where the NPC will just walk on that straight path. She just walks like a robot. Like she walks in the straight line, and then when she gets to a turn, 90-degry angle. There's no curve to it.
Right. Like it's kind of like Put You in the Mind of Soldiers when they turn. Like it's like very.
Or like toys that are on like a track. Yeah. It's like that kind of thing.
She's
not
very personal. Like she's very.
It's Zathora. Zathora has those ships that are on that track. Yep. That's what it makes me think of.
Yeah.
Because I was picturing that. I can't remember what it's from.
Yeah. So, and Dawson and I were kind of talking about this too, because she goes to, which this goes back to something we said earlier, but she goes to see about the bodies from the diner. They don't have room for Mallory, but she has room for them.
See, but I think maybe the reason, because they kind of mention this too, they do say that she's already occupied with the other two bodies, but they also mention that she's going to Pottersfield, so I wonder if she's not going to have a funeral, and that's why she's not being sent to the funeral home.
That's true. Yeah, that might be it.
You don't need to be all dolled up to be buried in a hole.
That's true.
But we find out here that the feds have gotten involved, and they're going to take the bodies of...
they already have.
Yeah. They've already got them. They took Lily and Stell's bodies.
Right. Lily and who? Fern.
Yeah, Fern. I wrote the wrong name. There's Lily, who is referred to as Lil at one point, and so I wrote Lil. And there's also Liv, and Liv's the one that's in juvie. Yeah. So I accidentally wrote Lil and Stell because I was thinking Liv. Okay. So that's my bad.
None of the juveniles are dead. Just throwing that out there.
And Zelda asks if Mindy and Ronnie are a couple, and Mindy says no. And then when she asks why, Zelda says, I'm just trying to gather information.
Right, and it's just an awkward scene. She's just, like, every scene with her in it is so awkward because of... And I think... that speaks to her acting ability. I think she does a fantastic job.
She's good at being unsettling.
She is, but she's just very stoic and very, like, to the point and no emotion. I don't think she ever shows any emotion.
This is another very my generation poll. If you have seen Total Drama Action specifically, there's a part in that where Izzy starts acting super smart and she refers to herself as Brainzilla. That is how Zelda talks. Because at one point in Total Drama Action in the after show, Izzy refers to someone as like a carbon-based life form commonly called a human, and that's exactly how Zelda talks.
Right, yeah. But I kind of wondered if she was going to kind of hit on Ronnie, and nothing really ever more comes of that conversation. Yeah. I mean...
Yeah.
So anyway, so she meets with Mindy, and then what's our next scene?
We see Cliff here somewhere, because he says nothing is happening normally right now, but I didn't write what they're doing.
This is the scene where they're driving back to town, and they're talking about telling people that they're zombies.
Yes.
Like, he just kind of accepts that it's zombies.
Yeah, as soon as Ronnie tells Cliff it's zombies, Cliff's like, okay, it's zombies.
And this is another thing about the location. Ronnie says, we just passed Farmer Miller's house. Frank.
And I don't know if Frank Miller, his name is a reference to the comic book author. I don't know why it would be, because I don't know if there's any references to any of his work in here, but I wonder if it is. And maybe I'm missing something.
Did he have anything to do with anything zombie-ish?
I don't think so, because he did The Dark Knight Returns, he did Batman Year One, he did Sin City, he did 300. I don't know if there's references to any of that in here. I think I would have noticed Batman pretty explicitly.
Yeah. I don't.
I'm not as familiar with Sin City or 300.
Yeah. But anyway, so they're driving, and Ronnie, they decide they're going to start telling people in town they need to be prepared.
Yeah.
And Ronnie says, should we go warn Farmer Miller? We just passed his house. And he lives on a farm in the middle of nowhere, but they're driving down residential streets, and we're talking about this.
We also kind of get a lot of hints that Cliff does not like Farmer Miller.
Right.
I think at one point he flat out says it, but he does not like it. And I wonder if it's because he keeps accusing Hermit Bob of doing stuff. Because he said he knew Hermit Bob.
From elementary school, didn't he?
Yeah.
Elementary school.
I think he might say elementary school, but he might just say school. But yeah.
I like Hermit Bob too.
I like him. So then we go back to the juvie kids, and they're talking about how this feels like the beginning of a horror movie, and Geronimo thinks it's zombies from everything he's gathered from listening to everything. And it seems like he is also a Bobby. Like, he's super into horror stuff.
Yeah.
Because he seems like he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And so it's not a secret. People pretty explicitly are like, it's zombies as soon as they see cannibalism happen, basically, because the zombies bit Lil and Fern, and that's how they kill them.
Well, and a lot of things that they know are, they keep showing Posey, who is a news reporter, and she's reporting on things that are going on, and that's where Geronimo gets a lot of, like, where his information is from these news reports. And I like her. I can't remember who plays her, but I liked her character, too.
So this is when we see the cops...
Is it Rosie Perez?
I don't know.
I think it's Rosie Perez.
So then we see the cops, well, specifically we see Cliff and Ronnie arrive at the cemetery, and they find 2 empty graves. And Cliff flat out walks into one by accident.
He falls backwards into it.
Because he's backing up. He's like, what are we looking for? Zombies walking around, and then he steps in a hole.
That was probably the funniest part of the whole movie. Like, I don't know why, but him falling in that grave was just like, I don't know. That was funny to me.
Yeah. So then, after they leave, Hermit Bob comes out of the forest and sees the empty graves.
We see Hermit Bob a lot watching other people.
Yeah. It's almost like it's from his point of view.
Yeah.
It's almost like the whole... Because he narrates at the end. Does he do it at the beginning, or is it... I think it's just at the end.
He narrates really at the beginning, but he
talks
out loud a lot.
Yeah.
Like about the ants.
Yeah. I don't think I wrote it down, but at some point he finds Moby Dick in the woods. Mm-hmm. And I think that's such a important thing for this movie.
Why?
Which we can talk about. We'll talk about it later, whenever we get near the end.
Okay.
So anyway, so he sees the empty grave, so he is like, oh, it is zombies. Like, he realizes it too. And here we learn, and we go back, they're in the car again, the cops are, and we learn Cliff was supposed to retire 2 years ago. And Ronnie's like, why? And he's like, why what? And he's like, why didn't you? And Cliff says, are we improvising here? And Ronnie's like, what? No, basically. And so then they just kind of stop that conversation. But then Ronnie explains that it's zombies, you gotta go for the head. And do we cut back and forth, or we just cut from Ronnie telling Cliff to Bobby telling Hank?
I think it just cuts back.
Okay.
I think it cuts to Hank.
So Bobby and Hank are at Hank's hardware store, which also just has a huge gun stock, it looks like.
Right.
Like, there's a bunch of ammunition and stuff on the shelves in the background.
And I do have to say, I was kind of confused at the beginning of this scene because I thought they were at Bobby's. And I'm like, man, he's like prepared for this.
I thought they were at a gun store. But it's just, it's part of the hardware store. Yeah, I know. I figured that out later, but at first I was like, is there a gun store in town?
Well, I thought it was Bobby's, and I'm like, man, he is ready for the zombies.
Well, apparently Hank was.
Yeah.
So we see, what'd you say, Polly on the TV? What's her name? Posey. We see Posey on the TV again, and she mentions there was an attack in East Brady, right? Mm-hmm. Which is just like another town. So it's not just happening in Centerville, is the point I was trying to make. And
when they show little parts of her news reports on the TV, and as the movie goes on, the TV cuts in and out more and more
Yeah.
on each of her reports.
And the radio stations do too.
Yeah.
Because they listen to the radio throughout the movie. And, like, The Dead Don't Die has played a couple times at this point.
We didn't mention that that's what Zoe and Zach and Jack
Yes.
are listening to in the car.
And they buy a CD of it from Bobby's gas station.
Right.
And Bobby mentions how good the song is. And every time anyone turns on that song, except for Cliff never actually turns it on. But anytime anyone brings it up or turns it on, they mention, oh, this is such a good song.
Yeah.
And
I
Cliff...
think they missed out with Selena not singing along to it, though, when they played it in the car. Like, I know that, but...
They might have had to pay her more if she did.
Well, that's true. I didn't think about that.
So then it's the next night. And we see, like, a legion of the dead rise. Like, it's not just 2, it's, like, the whole cemetery rises up.
And, one of my things I saw on this was when they're coming out of their graves, the engraving on the tombstones is all backwards. So they reverse that, so they flip that scene. So instead of, them coming out of the grave, they're actually going into it, and they just played the film backwards. But I thought that was kind of
That makes me think of Phantom of the Opera, where they do the candelabras rising.
Yeah. That's another good movie y'all should watch.
Is that horror? Could we do that on here?
Good.
It's like a classic horror.
Mm-hmm. It is. Only if we do the Gerard Butler one, though.
Well, that's what I meant. Okay. So, we see the motel man at this point.
Danny. His name's Danny.
When did... I feel like we skipped a scene. Did we? Yeah, because at some point the 3 people end up at the motel.
Oh yeah,
The college kids.
Yeah.
End up at the hotel or the motel, and they get a room.
And when is it that they come Ronnie and Cliff come and talk to them?
It's when they get to the motel.
Okay.
When Ronnie, the kids ask about the motel when they're with Bobby. And Bobby tells them where it is.
When he says the kids, he's talking about the college age ones, not the juveniles.
Yeah. I call those the juvie kids. Okay, so the group of 3, I'll say that so we're clear.
There's 3. The other
they're both,
two.
I know.
Jack and Zach and Zoe.
Yeah.
What I still think is funny that because you've got Zoe and then Jack, and then Zach is a combination of Zoe and Jack.
And we never find out what their relationship is. Like, obviously, they're friends of some kind, but we never find out if, like, any of them are interested in each other or...
Part, and I don't remember what it was, but I remember thinking that I thought Zoe and Jack were together. I feel like he puts his arm around her or something.
Maybe.
But then when they're in the hotel, they're on separate beds.
I know. I think they're all 3 sleeping separate. Or the dude sharing a bed.
I don't know. I kind of figured they would share because I think it was only 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
But anyway, so...
But I thought maybe there's a chair or something in the corner one of them was in.
Well, I
don't know.
We never see him lay on the bed because he was in the bathroom.
Okay. I know, but later in the movie...
I don't think
when they get to the motel room.
I don't think we ever see it. I think he's coming out of the bathroom.
Okay. So...
Yeah, because he's on the floor.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, we'll get to that then. So they're there in... I thought this was a really weird inclusion that doesn't really go anywhere, nor was necessary in the movie. Ronnie mentions that Selena has Mexican in her and it's his favorite people. And it's just kind of random. After he gives her the change, because she wants change for the vending machine.
Well, she asks
if
there's anywhere to eat, and they say the diner's closed
indefinitely.
So she's gonna get stuff out of the vending machine for him, and he gives her quarters.
And then he says Mexicans are my favorite people, and it just seems weird.
Yeah,
like
it's kind of an odd.
I don't know if it's a reference to something.
I don't know.
Like a zombie movie or something. I have no idea. It just seems like a really weird inclusion to be in there if it's not like a reference to something. Yeah. You know what movie this reminds me of a lot?
What?
Napoleon Dynamite. Just like with the way they talk and how there's not like a whole lot of added sound effects or stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's just very, and there's like in Napoleon Dynamite, something will happen and it's like very dry humor and it gives you a moment to like breathe after the joke happens. Yeah. That's how this movie feels too.
Yeah.
Which if you don't like Napoleon Dynamite, I don't know how you are still alive. That's such a good movie.
But yeah, so they had actually stopped at the hotel to tell Danny what had happened at the diner, right?
Yes. And Danny's a motel guy.
And Danny tells them that his cats are missing. Yeah. And they kind of just blow it off.
Yeah, because, Danny even says, though, he's like, I know this isn't a big deal, or it's not I know there's.
Right.
I think he says, I know there's bigger things going on, but my cats
Right.
are missing.
Right.
And then I don't know. I don't. They mention Ronnie warning the kids to lock the door. I don't think he ever does though.
He does
Does
because
he?
he walks away, and Danny and
Okay.
Cliff are standing there talking.
Well, the reason I say that is
goes
because
over.
later, because we don't see it happen, and then later Zoe asks one of them to go lock the door, so
I
they
caught
didn't
that
do
too.
it.
They didn't do it when
Yeah.
he told him to, but I caught that too.
So maybe Ronnie didn't tell them, or do you think he still did?
Well, he went to the door. He did go to the door because he
I don't
walked
know.
away,
Yeah.
and you could kind of hear him in the background talking
Okay.
to.
Okay.
I think he was talking to Zoe.
Well, then maybe they just didn't believe him.
Yeah.
One thing Bobby does mention is they ask if, because he has all the zombie stuff, and they ask him, "Oh, are there a lot of zombies around here?" And Bobby says, "Well, kinda," or something like that.
Right.
And so they bring that up later too.
Yeah.
And I know what we'll refer to them as. I mean, it's a little late now because they're not in the movie very much longer, but they're the hipsters. That's what everyone refers to them as.
That's right.
Everyone calls them
Right.
the hipsters, and they're
And
from the
then
big city.
What does Danny say? They're from Cleveland or Cincinnati, somewhere in Ohio.
Danny says he thinks they're from like Philadelphia or something, and then Adam Driver's character Ronnie says, "You got me doing it now." Ronnie says, "Considering they have Ohio plates, I bet they're from Cincinnati."
That's what it is. Yeah. But we don't really know where they're going, what they're doing, why they're on this road trip. There's not.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just in this town. So anyway, then what's our next scene? The police leave.
Yes, and that was somewhere in there. I assume before the gun store stuff and like them talking about killing zombies with the head.
You know what? I think that he goes and talks to them about locking the door while Zoe is at the vending machine.
That would make sense.
And then I think we see her as
Okay.
Ronnie's walking back. I think she's going toward the. So I
Okay.
bet they didn't lock it when she came back in.
Okay, so then we get to the next evening, like it's nighttime, and this is when the Legion of Dead arrives, which I kind of mentioned, but that we kind of skipped a scene, so we went back.
Right.
So this is when we see the zombies crawling out of the grave.
Right.
And the motel man goes outside trying to find his cats, and this is the cat food you mentioned where he licks the lid.
So gross.
And it's 5:00 and it's already dark. They mentioned that here, so time is all kind
Right.
daylight is all kinds of messed up.
Right.
And
again, every time it's night, the purple around the moon gets to be more and brighter.
Yeah. And he pretty quickly gets killed by zombies. They kind of take him down.
Does he get killed by the coffee zombies?
No.
Oh, okay.
He gets killed by zombies that are saying like free cable.
Oh, that's
because
right.
Because one of them says that, and he turns around and goes, "Yeah, we've got free cable." Ah! Because he gets attacked.
That's right. I forgot about the free cable part. See, it's just cheesy little lines like that that just make this movie.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's dry humor, and I love it. Like, it's not super in your face.
Right. And you know me, I don't like the raunchy, like... That's why I didn't like The Walking Deceased, because it's so raunchy that, to me, that's not funny. This is funny.
I love Napoleon Dynamite. It's like my favorite kind of humor, and I have never found a movie that captures that same feeling until this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree, but
yeah.
That's how I feel about it. So... Then we're back at the police station, and Cliff and Ron come in with big boxes full of stuff. Axes, and I think they have like a funnel and stuff too. Like some weird stuff that I don't think they needed. Maybe they wanted to siphon gas or something, I don't know. Maybe they were thinking ahead. But they come back with...
You know what,
I think there's even a plunger in there.
You know what that reminded me of?
What?
On Whose Line Is It Anyway, when they get the boxes of props, and it's like, figure out what you're going to sell to us today. How are you gonna beat the zombies with this box of junk?
So, there's like axes and like actual tools in there, but then like I said, I think there's like a funnel and stuff in it too. Like it's like they just grab stuff. But they mentioned that they got it from the hardware store.
Right.
So this is when Mallory wakes up.
Right.
And she immediately is like, Chardonnay.
And she just has that voice that is just, I mean, she's just...
It's almost like raspy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, I don't either.
But
I think that's her normal voice.
I think it is
how
too.
She sounds.
Has she ever done any voice acting?
From what I was looking at, she's done a lot of cartoon type stuff.
Okay. I feel like I've heard her voice in something that that I haven't seen her in, but I can't think of what it is.
She has a very recognizable voice.
I know. It's like is it Anthony Horowitz?
He's a writer.
I always get him confused with Invader Zim. And he plays Chaos in Skylanders.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Yeah.
He's
I know who
Moxie
you're talking
in Has Been Hotel.
about. Yep, I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his
Or
name.
not Has Been Hotel. Hell of a Boss. Same universe.
But anyway,
it's Horwitz is his last name, but I can't remember his first name right now, which kills me because Invaderism's like my favorite show.
Right. Which we'll be covering probably episodes of that at some point.
Dark Harvest. And like I think I mentioned this earlier, but like I know her from she's the Penguin's mom in Gotham.
And I know her from Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
And then we both know her from Princess Bride.
Right.
So anyway, so Cliff pulls out his gun and shoots into her body a few times, and Ronnie reminds him like, "Hey, you gotta go for the head." So then he grabs an axe and chops her head off.
But it takes more than one chop.
Yeah, like it takes a while.
And
it's not like 30 Days a Night gory though.
That's what I was
that's
like
like
I thought gory. It was really cool. Like even her, she hasn't been dead that long.
Yeah.
They don't bleed. It's dust.
Yeah.
Not that there's not blood in the movie. Obviously there is in the diner earlier and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not like every kill is super bloody.
And it's not even a super gory movie.
Mm-mm.
Like I think probably the diner and later in the motel room is like the worst parts, and they're not even bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like there's a little bit of guts and stuff showing, but it's not like like they're completely gutted.
It's
just
not like you said, 30 Days of Night or Zombieland, like blood and guts and gore everywhere. So.
So then he cuts her head off with the axe, and it's still alive. And Mindy screams, and then Cliff shoots it through the head.
Right.
And it dies finally.
Yeah.
This is when we see Zelda working on the corpse makeup.
And she's doing it like, I don't know. I kind of wondered if she even had any, which maybe she was just messing around, but like, did she have any experience as a mortician? Because she made them look like clowns.
I was thinking like hookers.
Well, yeah.
Because it's just like piles and piles of makeup on their faces.
And like I said, it's a man and a woman in their golf uniforms.
Yeah.
And so she's working on the woman, right? And her eyes open?
They keep popping open. She keeps closing them, and they keep opening. And then the guys do it at the exact same time as the girls.
And she's like, well, this is inconvenient.
She says, this is really inappropriate.
Inappropriate, that's what it is.
And they both sit up, and she still has her sword on, and she just draws it and just cuts their head off.
With one swipe for both of them.
Yeah.
Like, just...
I've done this before.
Done. Yeah, like you're done.
Which makes me wonder about stuff later in the movie. So... This is when we cut back to Frank, and he's in his house, and there's like a knocking on his door. It's not like a rap knocking, like someone knocking with their fist. It's like something bumping against the door over and over.
Yeah.
So he goes to see what it is with his shotgun, and it's a zombie banging itself against the door over and over. And you know what I thought was interesting? Because we mentioned the racist stuff. It's a black guy.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Is it?
I'm sure you're right, but it didn't click.
Okay. Because I was going to say, I'm pretty sure it's a black guy because I thought about that.
Huh.
So...
What does he call... Because then he kills that guy, but then his yard is full...
He calls them trespassers.
Trespassers. I thought there was something else he said.
So he... Maybe he does, but I know he says trespassers. So he opens the door, but leaves the chain on it. So it's still, like, locked, but it's open. And he sees it, and it grabs him and starts trying to pull him out. And so he blasts its head off with a shotgun.
Right.
And he honestly seems shocked. Like, he's like, I can't believe I just did that. But he gets over it pretty fast. And so now we kind of cut around, and we just kind of see a bunch of zombies. So we see the gas stations overrun, and a lot of them are kids that are wanting candy and stuff. And that brings me back to the thing of where Bobby's really good with kids. Oh, and one thing I wanted to mention too, I started to say this earlier, like way earlier before we got to the actual movie. What I said about there's a bunch of lines that like come back later. I don't think we ever see the kids again that are the ones that are directly in the gas station earlier, do we?
They're in there twice. They're in the first time we meet Bobby, and then they come back.
Well, they're not there the first time, because the first time's when Dean's there. They're there the second time.
They're leaving when Dean comes in.
No.
Yes.
They
because
leave.
The second time they leave, one of them has a horse head on, and it's when the hipsters are going in, and he bumps into one of them, and the kid calls him...
"Eat me."
Yeah. Right.
Which is what I was going to say. There's a lot of lines like that. He says, "Eat me."
Yeah.
And then the kid also says to Bobby, "Don't turn blue." What?
I didn't get that.
Like, because he says, "You guys are sick or something," and he says, "Don't turn blue." It's like a joke.
I didn't catch that either.
Okay, so anyway, So we see them wandering around town, and they're all like wanting different stuff.
And this is the part I was talking about with the pharmacy where they want Xanax and whatever. You know.
And there's like some of them have phones that are like Bluetooth, Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And they all kind of talk like that.
And it's funny that that's what they want.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when zombies say brains, but it's just all whatever they did in life, like whatever. And I wonder if it's what they wanted when they died. Because, like, you mentioned the motorcycle thing, maybe they were tired and that's why they crashed, and so they wanted coffee to stay awake.
Yeah, maybe. I kind of took it as it was what you were addicted to. Like, because people are addicted to their phones.
I guess they do kind of say that, but I don't see how you'd be addicted to Bluetooth. I guess maybe if you listen to music all the time and stuff, but even then.
Yeah.
And someone says Siri.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
People have been obsessed with weirder things.
I know.
I mean, somebody married the Eiffel Tower.
Well, you know, there's a guy in China or Japan or somewhere in Asia that married an AI that got shut down.
That's insane.
Which I really don't think that guy was that weird of a guy, because if you actually read his story, it's not as weird as people make it seem. Like, it's still odd, but it's not crazy, creepy, weird.
So now are we back to the hardware store?
Yes. And so the front door is, like, boarded up. Like, Hank and Bobby have been working on boarding it up, but some zombies are getting through.
Right.
So Hank and Bobby take them out.
So, the first two zombies they kill, Hank mentions that they were two of his best customers.
Yes.
Their names are Travis and Dallas, the Good brothers.
And they were good at music.
And Travis and Dallas Good were members of the Sadies, which is a Canadian rock and roll country western band from Ontario.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was this shot in Ontario?
I don't know.
Because I know a lot of movies are shot in Canada.
Probably. But I just thought that was kind of... There's so many references to music and, you know, Iggy Pop being in it, and Sturgill Simpson's in it as a cameo. This is the part where he's in it, where he's dragging the guitar.
Yeah. Sturgill Simpson is really good. And I didn't know about him until this movie.
Mm-mm. Have you listened to any more of his music? Mm-hmm. I may have to do that.
I was listening to some earlier today. After I watched the movie again right before this. So we saw them, and then we go back to the juvie kids, and they're hiding in, like, a room. And
they're in a room, and then they end up in the closet, because the...
Yes, like, but they're hiding in a room currently, and there's windows, but they're, like...
frosted.
Yeah, so you can't see through them.
I think it's like the day room we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, the one with
and
the
you
TV
could see
in it.
shadows of the guards fighting zombies.
Yeah, and you can tell they're losing.
And you can hear them, like, you can hear the guards talking and screaming.
I think it's Geronimo runs over and shoves something under the door to keep it from opening.
No, it's Stella.
Is it?
She's which one had the nightmare?
Liv was the one that had the nightmare.
Okay, then Liv did it.
Okay.
Because I thought it was brave of her after, you know, she was scared of everything.
What did she shove under there? Did you see?
It's like they have them in schools and stuff. It's like a plastic doorstop, but you're supposed to, when you shove it under the door, it's supposed to stop people from being able to get in, like a shooter.
See, what I've seen with those, what we had in school were barracudas, and they're like big metal things you put on the door and then slide and they go into place.
They're probably in a juvenile detention center.
Yeah, I know.
Something like that.
Yeah, because you can beat each other with it. Yeah.
So that's what it is.
I've had some friends that were in stuff like that. So, okay, so.
But she puts that under the door, and then they end up hiding in the closet that's in that room.
Yes. And this is when we learn on the radio. I think we cut back to the police station, maybe. And we learn on the radio that there's reports across the globe of this happening.
Yes.
So like I said, it's not localized, it's happening everywhere.
When do we see Posey again?
I don't know, because I didn't write that down.
Don't we end up seeing her get overrun by zombies?
I don't think so.
Oh, I thought we did.
So this is whenever we see Zelda again, and she's just walking down the street with her sword, killing any zombies that get too close. And there's one that's like, this is not, never mind. I was going to say the fashion one, but that's not till later. That's when she's driving the car. So...
Yes, she's killed by zombies.
Okay. I just didn't remember that. So Zelda's walking to the police station.
And even, like, when she's killing people, she's still just that composed, like...
Clinical.
Yeah. Like, kind of robotic, even. Yeah. To the point, like... Everything she does is swift and smooth and no, you know...
No hesitation, no messing up. It's just... does what she needs to do. So she is heading towards the police station, and I think Ronnie is the one that comments on the fact, oh, she can handle herself really well.
Yeah.
Um,
Which again, I thought maybe there was going to be some kind of relationship there between the two of them.
So Zelda makes it to the police department, and she's talking with the 3 cops, and they discuss what they should do, and the cops decide they're going to leave in the squad car, and Zelda will stay behind and man
They were going to leave
police
Mindy
station.
behind, and Mindy did not want to stay behind. Yeah.
So Zelda takes Ronnie's car keys, and this is when she mentions the Star Wars keychain. It's a Imperial Star Destroyer.
And she says she'll meet them at the cemetery.
Yes.
Which I thought was kind of odd, because if you're staying there to man the phones for the police station, you should probably stay there and man the phones for the police department. But we find out at some point that their phones aren't working.
They say it's here.
Is that when it is? Because somebody was going to call the feds, right?
They've got the phone and they've got the computer here, and when they're talking about someone staying behind, they ask Zelda if she knows how to use them, and then one of them says if they even work.
Right. But I thought Mindy was going to call the feds.
I don't know.
And the phone would... Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's a different movie. But anyway, so they leave Zelda at the police station. The 3 of them get in the car.
While they're
Cliff is driving.
Yeah.
Ronnie's in the passenger, Mindy's in the back.
While they're driving, one of them says they gravitate towards things they did while they were alive.
Right.
And I don't remember who said that, but one of them does. I think it might be Ronnie.
I think it's Ronnie. Ronnie's kind of the smart one out of the 3.
So they go to the motel, and they're just kind of driving through town and checking up on everything.
Right.
Is what they're doing. So they get to the motel, and they find Zoe, Zach, and Jack dead in the room.
Right.
So Ron goes in and starts stabbing all of them through the head so they won't come back.
But I thought it was funny, though, because he kills the guy. Well, he... Whatever. Beheads the guys.
Yeah.
And then he when he does it to Zoe, he walks out of the room with her head.
Yeah.
He's carrying... Did you see she blinked?
Mm-hmm.
But why would you walk out there carrying her head?
I have no idea. But he also takes the CD that they bought at the gas station of The Dead Don't Die.
Right. And Mindy's kind of freaking out. She's like, did you really have to do that? Did you have to, they were just people.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they weren't dust. They actually had blood when he cut their heads off. Right?
Yes, because blood splashes on her face.
Right.
She says those were just bodies.
They were still people.
They were still human.
I don't think they've been dead long enough to turn yet. So she's really upset.
Because we do find out that basically everyone turns when they die. We don't know if it's when you get attacked or just when... I would assume just if you die, because the ones that were in the graves rose. So I'm just assuming if you die, you come back.
Right. But why didn't Lily and Fern?
Because the feds took them.
But they still got bitten by zombies.
They say it takes a while.
Oh.
They say that here in the motel room. They say it takes a while.
Okay. So Mindy's really upset that he did that, and she's like, did you have to do that? And he's like, well, yeah.
Ronnie says it takes a while for them to become zombies. He has no proof of that. He just knows.
Yeah. It can't take super long, though, because Mallory... And she can't have been dead too long and still be in the police station.
But it also, we see some variation because those 2 rose first, and then the other ones rose later.
Well,
and then Mallory had only been dead for however long, and she rose after basically all of them.
And I thought one thing about the ones that rise is they weren't... I mean, they look like zombies, but there weren't, like, decay.
Yeah.
Like, if this took place in 2019 and he died in 67... I mean, he wouldn't look like a human.
Well, and it's also... People talk about this all the time in zombies movies when they do this. You can't dig out of a grave like that.
Right.
Because there's so much dirt on you, you cannot get out.
Well, maybe you got zombie strength.
I know, but... I'm just saying. And a lot of people say that this movie has a bunch of tropes in it. And yes, it does, but it knows it does.
Yeah.
And it also does not follow tropes. I don't think.
So hang on. When do they talk about the script?
Not yet.
Mindy's not in the car with them when they talk about that. Is that at the cemetery?
We'll get there.
Is that at the cemetery?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they're driving back through town after they went to the motel, and Ronnie puts...
Yes.
This is one of the funniest parts of this movie to me. Because like we said,
The song keeps playing throughout the movie.
The guys are very stoic and not
Yeah.
reactive to much. And
It's the only... Is there environmental music in this movie? Because there's a lot of scenes that are quiet.
I think it's only that song.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's just music playing,
Yeah.
I think it's that song.
And every time they turn on the radio, if it's not a news broadcast, it's just that song.
Right. So Ronnie puts in the CD.
The Dead Don't Die CD.
And Cliff is like, oh my gosh, not this song again. And, like, the only time he shows much emotion.
He's, like, angry.
Yeah. He rolls the window down and throws it out in the middle of the road.
And Ronnie says, that's a little irrational.
Right.
And so this is when they get to the hardware store, and they kind of, like, stop in front of it on the road. And they're debating whether or not to help, because they see a bunch of zombies piled up against the front.
A lot of zombies.
Yeah. And one of them turns around and starts walking towards the car, and Mindy starts freaking out, so they leave. They decide not to help Hank, because they know Hank and Bobby are holed up in there because they went there earlier to get stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And is this when Bobby and Hank are reinforcing the door? Is that the next scene?
Yes. Because we see this, and then we cut inside the store.
Yeah, and they have reinforced the front door.
And I did mean to mention this. We saw Cliff hit a zombie, and Mindy was like, you did not have to do that.
Yeah. Mindy's like the caring actual human in the movie.
Yeah.
So then we're inside.
One thing, sorry, not to interrupt you, but one thing with zombie movies a lot that I always think about is people are always like, I can't kill them, what if there's a cure? Okay, well, if my arm is half missing and there's blood leaking from every orifice in my body, I don't think I'm coming back from that with a cure.
Yeah, because then you just bleed out if
exactly.
They did find a cure.
That's what I always think.
My thing always is, like, I wouldn't want to live with myself knowing that, hey, you ate people.
There is a really good short story in a short story collection I read. What is that called? It might have been called Monster or something. The short story collection was. I'm pretty sure it was called Monster. And there's a short story in there where it's like, it's kind of like a zombie infection, but I think it's more like vampires where they can't be in the sun and stuff. And they find a cure, but the people that are cured still are not right because they did all that stuff.
What's that? There's a movie that's like that.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I'm going to say it's a foreign one. But they figure out a cure for zombieism, but the guy's just not right.
I do think I know what you're talking about now, but I don't know what it is.
I just remember a fence, a big fence. Anyway, that's another movie. But anyway, so they have boarded up the front door really well.
Yes.
But they forgot about the back door.
Hank remembers last second there's a back door.
And right you when hear zombies knocking on it. And I honestly thought it was going to be
them saving
Hank and Bobby. Mm-hmm. But it is not. It's a flood of zombies that come in.
And I think that's what you're supposed to think.
I was like, oh, yeah, they're good. Because I liked Hank. Mm-hmm. I like Bobby, but I liked Hank, too.
And Hank is so thankful in the scene when they're fixing up the door. He's like, I would be dead without you, Bobby. Like, you told me what was going on. You told me how to kill him. Because the earlier scene when the zombies broke through the front door, Hank was trying to stab it, like, in the chest. And Bobby reminded him, hey, you got to go for the head. So he went for the head, and that worked.
Yeah.
And so here, Hank is like, I'm so thankful. I would be dead without you.
What are the zombies at the hardware store we're going for?
One of them says power drills and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Bobby and Hank both die.
Yeah.
They fight, but they both die.
Yep. We don't really see it, though. It cuts away.
Yeah.
But we hear some stuff.
Yeah. Like I said, it's not a very graphic movie.
Yeah. And a lot of times, it almost leaves it ambiguous, but then later on, we kind of see everyone again, so we know what actually happened.
Yeah.
And we'll get there. So, this is whenever we switch back to Farmer Miller. And the police car's driving by again, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they see him, like, holding out.
Yeah.
And I think this is when he says the trespassers thing.
Maybe.
And so he still has a shotgun and he's shooting zombies and they're piling up at his door and he gets taken down.
Yeah.
And we see...
Well, he goes out on his front porch and he's shooting him and then they...
overrun him.
Yeah.
And Hermit Bob is in the woods and this is when he eats the chicken and he says this is pretty good. So that makes me think that he had not stolen the chicken before.
See,
because he says this is actually pretty good.
I still think he did because he's eating it. I think they implied it with him eating it by Farmer's house.
I thought it was he hadn't, but he was doing it now.
Well, maybe.
So this is when the police car gets stuck.
Now, wait a minute. They're headed.
The cemetery.
They're headed toward the cemetery.
Yeah.
And this is another thing that I just think these little Easter eggs. Like I want to watch the movie again and see what we missed as far as Easter eggs. But Ronnie
was this before the motel? Before they got to the motel?
No, this was on the way to the cemetery.
Okay.
The second time.
Okay.
They're driving down the road, and there's zombies everywhere. And Ronnie's like, "Hey, slow down for just a minute, Cliff." And he cuts off a zombie's head. And like I said, there's zombies all over, but he picks this one. And this zombie is dressed in the same clothes with the same hair as Bill Murray when he was a zombie in Zombieland.
Yep.
So when they break into his house and he comes out with his
makeup,
the zombie makeup, that's what the zombie looks like. Yeah. And I thought that was such a cool little add-in right there.
And I don't know for sure because I did not see a whole lot of behind-the-scenes stuff from this, but I imagine the people that worked on this movie had a lot of fun because it just feels like they did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've seen like some of the stuff that Bill Murray has talked about like in interviews and done. He sounds so miserable about doing it. But this movie just seems so fun.
Yeah. Yeah. What is it? Is it in Zombieland where he says he regrets doing Garfield?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I mean, and he's talked about that a lot.
There's a scene in Double Tap. It's the end credit scene where we see Day Zero and he is doing an interview for Garfield 3.
Yeah.
And he starts killing people.
Yeah. So I just thought that was cool that they included that in there. And one thing I saw earlier when I was doing some research was that when he first announced he was going to be in this movie, he made a point to tell everybody he was not going to be a zombie.
So, I know you mentioned that Zelda's last name Winston is like an anagram of her real life last name. I also wonder if it's a Ghostbusters reference. Because the first time she is mentioned, I'm pretty sure the first time she's mentioned is by Cliff, and he refers to her as Winston.
I didn't think about that. Maybe.
I don't know that. That was just something I thought of. Okay.
So, the 3 cops are in the cop car.
Yes.
They're in the cemetery. They've gotten stuck because Cliff has ran over so many zombies.
Yes.
And of course, Mindy's in the back freaking out.
Which is something a lot of people point out in zombie movies is they'll start running over zombies. And I've seen so many people be like, oh, their car would get stuck because it would get tangled up. Well, in this movie, that happens.
Right.
Like, there's, like, limbs. Like, we see it. There's, like, limbs and stuff stuck in the wheel.
Yeah. And they're still moving, which I think, like, the hands are twitching.
Mm-hmm.
And, so then Mindy is just kind of having a full-on meltdown. And she's like, I don't want to live in a world like this. I don't want to.
Well, Cliff and Ron are fighting at this point. They get in, like, an argument. Right? Or was that earlier?
What are they arguing about?
I don't remember, but at one point they get in an argument. Because Mindy, like, freaks out and screams and is like, stop arguing right now.
Yeah, I think that's now.
Okay. I don't remember what they were
I think it's because he says again that everything's going to end badly.
Yeah, that's what it is. And Cliff is like, why do you keep saying that?
Yeah. So anyway, Mindy's grandma comes up and is knocking on the window.
And she says Mindy. The grandma does.
Yes. Which is kind of sad that that's what she wanted.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I just lost my grandma a year ago, so that hits a little close to home,
yeah.
But, you know, that she wanted her granddaughter.
Well, and I think this is probably the heaviest moment in the movie. Mindy just freaks out and runs out of the car and gets overtaken by the zombies.
Yeah, she says, I'm coming, Grandma, and
yeah.
she doesn't want to live in that kind of a world.
Yeah. She basically just kills herself, like...
Right, gives herself up to the zombies. So then we have the police car in a cemetery surrounded by all these zombies.
And then we cut to Zelda, right?
I thought this was the conversation that we keep talking about.
No. We cut back to Zelda.
Okay, go ahead.
And Zelda is driving Ronnie's car. And she sees a zombie in the road and she stops. And it's a zombie that's, like, doing poses and stuff. And she, like, stops and gets out of the car, and the zombie's like, fashion, and, like, strikes a pose, and then Zelda says something about, that's not your style or something, and she looks down at her clothes, and then Zelda says, that's a nice neck, though, and cuts her head off.
She says something about her skirt.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that, because it kind of looked like a kilt, I wonder if that was a reference to her being Scottish.
I don't know.
Because I think she says that's not your skirt.
Yeah. And this is also the part in the car where she says, Centerville, USA, whatever the slogan is.
A nice place.
Yeah.
A really nice place.
Yeah. And she says it, like, in the most monotone voice.
Yeah.
So then we cut back to the juvie kids, and they escape the detention center. and they just kind of run into the woods, and one of the girls says, "I know a safe place."
And that is the last we see of them.
Yep.
That's it for the juvie kids.
Yep. Which kind of makes me sad because I really like them.
Yeah. I feel like there's some parts of this movie that are kind of discombobulated. Like,
yeah. I honestly, if you want my honest opinion, I love this movie. There's too many characters.
They just tried to take it in too many different directions, I feel like. So anyway, we cut to Zelda. She gets to the cemetery, right?
No.
Okay.
This is when we cut back to Cliff and Ronnie and still in the car.
And this is their conversation that
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about. So, after Mindy gets out of the car, Ronnie and Cliff get into this big conversation because he says again, this is all going to end badly. And Cliff says, how do you know that? And Ronnie says, I read the script.
Well, they're talking about why Ronnie is so calm throughout all of this.
Right. That's
and
right.
why he acts like he knows what's going to happen.
Right. And he's like, I read the script. And Cliff's like, well, so did I. And Ronnie's like, well, I got the whole script. And so...
Yeah, he says, Jim gave me the whole script.
Right.
And Cliff says, I just got our scenes.
Damn you, Jim, or something. Like...
Yeah, I just got our scenes.
Yeah, kind of talking bad about the director, which I thought was...
Which made me think about that. I didn't realize, and it's not super important, but I didn't realize that we never see them separate except for when they go in the diner. Like, they're always together.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. And even at the diner, I mean, they're still there together.
Right. I mean, he's not there 5 minutes or 2 minutes before
I know, yeah.
Ronnie gets there.
So I guess technically the police station in the morning and then at the diner, but really, they're together for 80% of the movie.
Yeah.
Or
so
like 99%, really.
One thing I saw was talking about how it was a goof that Mindy could get out of the backseat of a police car.
Not necessarily. Did it even have like a thing back there? I don't think it even had like a divider.
I thought it did.
Maybe it does. But either way, I'd imagine there's a way to unlock it so it's not stuck like that, wouldn't you?
I mean, there's child locks, but I don't know if that's what police cars use.
I don't know. I would think they'd use something heavier duty.
I would think so too.
But I don't know.
I don't either. But that was just something that I saw. So anyway, they have this whole conversation.
It's also a small town.
Well, that's true. I mean, they have this whole conversation about the script and Ronnie getting the whole thing. And then we cut to Zelda, right?
She arrives at the cemetery.
Right.
Yeah.
She gets to the cemetery. She gets out of the car.
And the zombies start running away.
Yes. And then all of a sudden...
A UFO.
We see a UFO coming.
Like, we follow it come through the sky.
Totally random UFO comes and picks up Zelda.
So do you think she was an alien, or do you think she was just in contact with aliens?
Well, Aaron said she was a cyborg.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with she was an alien.
Okay. Because I wonder if she was just in contact with aliens.
Well, one thing we didn't talk about was when they leave her at the police station, she gets on the computer and she's like typing all this gibberish on the computer. So I think she was communicating with the aliens and said, come get me.
And I thought maybe when she said the Centerville, USA thing, I thought maybe she was telling the aliens where to come in the car.
Yeah.
No, I mean, not necessarily.
Right. But then Ronnie's like, well, that wasn't in the script.
Yeah. Well, because Cliff asked, he said, was that in your script? And Ronnie says, no.
Yeah. So, Zelda's gone.
Yeah.
We do see Hermit Bob. I don't remember what point in the cemetery scene, but we've got Hermit Bob who's watching everything.
Here's what I'll talk about no, let's just wait still. So, Ron and Cliff decide they're going to, like, make a last stand. Right. They're going to go out fighting at the very least. So, we basically see everyone we've seen in the movie so far come back as zombies. Mm-hmm. We see Bobby, Hank, the farmer
Danny.
Miller.
We see Danny.
We see, what's her name? The one that just died.
Mindy.
So we basically see, like, everyone that's died so far in the movie. So we know for sure they died.
Yeah. Bobby. Did you say we see Bobby?
Mm-hmm. That was the first one I said. But then we get, like, a monologue from Hermit Bob as this fight's going on. Mm-hmm. And he's talking about how everyone was zombies even before the zombies were here.
And I think this goes back to them wanting something.
And I think this...
He talks about everyone's obsessed with things. People lost their souls for gold.
And I think this goes back to Moby Dick, because you know what Moby Dick's about.
Yeah.
It's a guy so obsessed with finding a whale he ruins his own life.
Right. Yeah.
We today, we all have our obsessions. We all have things we're stuck on, and next thing you know, life's over. Life's short.
Yep. Yep. I think about that a lot. Like, how much time do we waste staring at a phone screen?
Yeah.
Like, we should be spending time with family, and we should be going out and doing things we enjoy. Why are we sitting and staring at a screen? I don't know. It's scary. The world gets scarier the older I get.
And we're saying this as you're watching a video.
Right.
Or listening to a podcast.
Well, you can do other things while you're listening
I
to
know.
a podcast.
I do.
You can. I can't because I can't focus.
I focus better if there's multiple things.
I mean, if I was like doing chores, I could, but like I try to listen when I'm working. And
did you know that's like a neurodivergent thing, and like an ADHD thing?
What?
Having a bunch of different like noises at once like helps. Because I mean, like, you know, I get overwhelmed in crowds and stuff, but if it's stuff I can control, I do a lot better.
Yeah.
And like I saw a video the other day on TikTok where this girl was talking to her autistic brother, and he had on like 3 things ago, and he had like 2 TV shows playing, and he had music playing, and it helped him focus.
See, I couldn't do that. I can't. Like, I can't even when you and your sisters get to talking at the same time. I have to focus on one part.
Yeah.
Like, y'all gotta line up.
See, that's my thing. If it's people talking, and I can't control the volume and stuff, like in public, I get overwhelmed. Like, I won't, like, my little sister got tickets to a Kesha concert. She invited me to go. I said no because I cannot do that. I can't be in big crowds like that and have a million people talking around me.
Yeah.
I get overwhelmed.
Yeah. So, speaking of overwhelmed, Ronnie and Cliff get overwhelmed by zombies.
Yep.
And they both die.
Yep. And so our only survivors are Hermit Bob and presumably the Juvie kids.
Yep. From this entire town of 738 people.
Yeah. Well, the only ones we see.
Yeah.
And the thing about Hermit Bob is his whole life is dedicated to like surviving and living in the wilderness. He has no interest in like material things.
Right.
Like, it doesn't even seem like he really has possessions.
Right.
I mean, I guess he has like a pair of binoculars and clothes and stuff, but he doesn't have a home and like hoard stuff or anything like that.
And he remarks at the end that it's just a fucked up world. Can I say that on a podcast?
Yeah, you're fine. As long as it's not in the first like 20 seconds or minute or something. It updates all the time, but as long as it's not at the beginning.
And this is the part we were talking about, and I don't have it written down, but this is where he does his monologue and he talks about the ants. And that's the part I mentioned earlier where I wonder if that was in there or if they kind of adjusted his monologue to fit the ants at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. But I really like this ending monologue. And that's... I don't know, because I kind of go back and forth on it. It's kind of one of those things where we got the point, and it's a little on the nose to just lay it out and explain it like that. But I think it's okay here because it's not... We're hearing it through what Hermit Bob is thinking. Like, it's not just like...
Well, and I don't feel like him saying that, would you really have thought that deeply about what this movie's saying?
Yes.
See, I don't think I would have.
As soon as they like coffee and Xanax and all that stuff, that popped into my head.
See, I don't know.
And I think that's part of the reason this movie, because I said this was one of my favorite movies. I've only seen it twice, and once was for the podcast. Once was when like it first came out and we watched it together, and it's just always stuck with me.
Yeah.
And it seriously is one of my favorite movies because it just sticks with me. I think about it all the time.
Yeah. You know, and I think you kind of nailed it when you said Napoleon Dynamite. Like, it's that dry, like Napoleon Dynamite, nothing happens in that movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's a good movie.
Yeah.
And
I love
obviously there's zombies in this movie, so there's things happening, but
like
it's not like a normal zombie movie where everybody's freaking out and the whole town is scared to death, and it's
like when someone says zombie movie, you're imagining like nonstop action and a bunch of brutality. Yeah.
And this is not that. Yeah. This is a quiet zombie movie.
Yeah. Or you imagine them just like being holed up somewhere and surviving. But here they're moving out and about, but there's not... I mean, even in this, other than just getting overwhelmed because there's so many, the zombies aren't that scary.
Right.
Like, they're not gross or like visceral or anything. And they're not... They're slow. They're not like fast moving or anything. Right. It's just... There's so many that they're a threat.
And like I mentioned earlier, I think one of my favorite scenes is when he's walking down the road with his coffee pot just hooked on a finger.
Yeah.
Like, the coffee pot's swinging.
And they end up getting killed, don't they?
Do they?
I thought they did.
I thought they killed Danny and that was the last we saw of him.
No. Danny dies, remember? One of them says cable TV and it's not coffee.
Oh, that's right. Darn it. I keep doing that.
When they're driving at one point, they see them and they either stop and kill them or just drive on.
I think they drive on.
Okay. But you asked me if I would think deeply about that. I don't think I would have if they had not included the fracking stuff. I think that's what really...
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, we live on this planet, and this planet is supporting us, and we are ruining it.
Yeah, we are.
And we're making excuses.
And like, we're very selfish people.
Yeah, and we're, like, they were saying, oh, the scientist is making stuff up. We're invalidating and taking things that should be major issues and thinking of them as minor things.
Right.
And it's
like, none of the zombies wanted peace, or none of them wanted, let's go pick up recycling.
And the only ones that survive are kids who are young and capable of change and haven't done anything to really mess up the world, and the guy who is super in tune with nature and realized stuff was happening before anyone else because he was so in tune with nature.
Right.
Mushrooms were going in the wrong spot. The ant hills. He noticed the sky looked off. Like, he knew all that.
Right. And he even knew, like, the time. I don't even think they show him with the watch, but
no.
He knew the time was screwed up. Not really time, but daylight was screwed up.
Yeah.
So, overall, very good movie. Highly suggest you watch it.
It's so good.
Next week, we're kind of going a different direction. It'll still be a horror movie-ish. More of a psychological horror.
Yeah.
We are doing The Menu that came out just in the last couple years.
Yeah. And we like covering smaller stuff, or like stuff that you probably haven't heard of or didn't get reviewed very well, really. Like things that a lot of people haven't seen because didn't get reviewed very well. Like, I feel like The Dead Don't Die, it had so many big actors. I think if it had slightly better reviews, it would have been popular.
Yeah. Well, it's like that one review I mentioned earlier. The guy said it took him multiple times watching it to like the movie. But we will be doing The Menu with Anya Taylor-Joy. She's one of my favorite actresses right now. It's not your typical horror movie, but I feel like
it's a well-balanced horror comedy.
You think there's comedy to it?
Yes.
Well,
100%.
I guess there is, but so that's our next one, and don't forget that our book for the month of July is 7 Rabbits by Timothy King.
Horror comedy may not be the best way to describe it. It is definitely a horror movie with comedy elements.
Yeah.
But it's kind of more of the dry humor, or like dark humor. It's not.
Yeah. And I don't know if I like it so much because I love to cook, and I've always wanted to be a chef. We'll get into that next week, but so tune in next week and we will talk about The Menu, and then the week after that will be our second book review, and we are doing 7 Rabbits by Timothy King.
And we are talking about doing a special episode at some point, and instead of covering specific movies, just talking about some of our favorite horror movies.
And he told me I have to limit it to 10,
and
that might be impossible.
I said top 10, but I think I changed my mind. I think we should just do our favorites, and we can just talk about whatever we want.
That would take like hours.
So, we can do episode 1 and then see how far that gets us, and then go from there. Okay, so next week is The Menu, and the week after we are doing
7 Rabbits by Timothy King.
Which
actually, I'm going to change that because the week after, we're going to put 7 Rabbits off for a week, so we'll do another movie after The Menu, because August 2nd, I actually get to meet Timothy King in person.
Okay.
And so I will have some insight information into his book, so I would rather wait and do that the first week in August.
Do you want to do Mad God? Or try to see if we can do Mad God?
We can.
Okay. So, Menu, then Mad God, then 7 Rabbits.
Yes.
Which 7 Rabbits is a book.
Only because I'm going to meet Timothy and I can't wait. So, yeah.
So that's it.
All right. Have a good evening, y'all.